the passenger consumer experience is going to change a lot of post-pandemic. We have a bunch of challenges. We have social distancing, safety measures. I think the customer base is going to shrink. There might be less disposable cash around. How are you addressing all these things with your clients now?
Okay, so totally agree. There's going to be changes. We're referring to it now as our kind of our new normal, because we're going to have to work like this for some time. Passenger numbers are, well, they're unlikely to recover to 2019 levels for months, years. No one really knows.
Well, we've heard 3 years, so.
Yeah, I've heard that one as well. Although I've seen some really positive, there was some positive noise about the amount of money that's being spent in retail, but not yet in airport retail. But it feels like it's coming that direction. Yeah, look, I think what we've got to recognise is that I mentioned to you earlier, I want to be really transparent about these things. I think it's really important that we look back at what we were doing well before and what maybe we weren't doing so well. If you factor in the number of passengers who were actually buying in travel retail or even entering the stores, those percentages were relatively low. Let's be entirely honest. Okay, the numbers look good in terms of what they were spending, and it's good. It generates money. It helps the industry, but the numbers weren't that great. That we've had. I mean, the numbers I can band around now. There were numbers like 15 to 18% of passengers were making purchases. I've seen numbers of, less than 40% of people entering stores. So those numbers could be improved, couldn't they? Quite dramatically. When interviewed, people who had been in store, only 14% of them said they enjoyed the in-store experience. That's unbelievably low. And for somebody who's all about experience and wanting to deliver something amazing for them, that's a scary number. We've also been in situations where, how do you then help people to understand why they would go into store? We have a statistic which says 51% of those people who didn't enter the store, when asked why or what would make them go into store, weirdly enough, 51% of them said they would have gone into the store had there been some experiential retail. So had there been some experience, they'd have gone in. So that's incredible. So just working on those numbers, if we're saying 59%, 60% of travelers do not visit the retail store at all, what we're saying is half of that number would have done had there been something experiential to go into. So even if our numbers post-COVID are going to drop, if we can entice those people in by giving them those experiences that they want, they will come. Right. Your question was kind of two parts, because the other bit is there are then going to be some challenges to how we do that. Social distancing. How are we going to work with a store where gondolas are placed 1.2 meters apart from each other, because that's standard store design? That's going to be a challenge. Do we reconfigure the stores? Do we move this? Do we open the space up? It stands to reason we should have logical entry and exit points so that there is a singular flow, so people feel that they're not being sort of kettled into one area. But there's more we can do, because there will be people who simply are afraid to go into the store. So I think it's time for us to take the store to them. From what I'm hearing, people will be asked to arrive up to 4 hours before the departure of their flight. Obviously, it's varying from location to location, but let's just say that might be true. That's at least 2 hours longer than you would normally arrive at the airport. So there's going to be a lot of hanging around, a lot of queuing, a lot of waiting. We're hearing that people will be asked to wash their hands or sanitize their hands between each of the sections of the journey. So from check-in to security to immigration to concourse, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things that people are going to have to do. People are going to be worried. It's going to be a challenge to even get them to think about going into store. But if they're standing, queuing, waiting, why can't we go and entertain them? Why can't we take the store to them? It's going to need some relaxation from the airport. They're going to need to help the retailers. They're going to need to allow them to come out of the footprint of their stores and do this. But if you've got people who are frustrated, worried, bored because they're queuing for hours, I mean, give them a little bit of entertainment, make them feel that they're having a great time. They'll be your advocates in no time at all. And if that's functioned by a brand, I mean, I don't know, if a brand wants to come out and teach me how to make a wonderful old-fashioned cocktail and then tell me I can buy the ingredients for it right here, brilliant, why not? And if I can do that on my smartphone without having to leave the queue, I'm going to make a purchase. So I think it's about just accepting our new normal for what it is, and then coming up with intelligent ways to work around it. It doesn't mean to say just because, the classic, isn't it? A door closes, the window opens. There is always an opportunity for us to do something. And being a creative agency, I think we're probably one of the best places to do so, because that's our job. Our job is to come up with ideas. So we have a load of ideas at the moment which we're working through. Some of them are brilliant. We're working with clients who are asking us about how to do this. We've got some really fun ideas which I can go into a bit later. But overall, we just have to embrace and recognize that there are going to be these restrictions and these challenges. But with every restriction, it normally throws up a little loophole somewhere else that we can exploit, and there will be things we can do. One of the big things we're looking at doing is ensuring that the entire journey is covered. Forget just being in the retail store. That's very old school. That's kind of what we were doing when we set up, 17 years ago. All our focus was what's going to happen when someone walks into that retail store. And over the years, we've expanded and expanded and expanded. And we were doing quite a lot of work before the coronavirus pandemic, and that work was all about extending that consumer journey and ensuring that we're communicating to shoppers, before they've even set foot in the airport. One of the restrictions that I'm hearing is that check-in will be forced online. So everyone will be online check-in. I mean, I do now anyway. Most people probably do still, but that's online. That provides us with an opportunity. That provides us an opportunity to connect with these people. If we can offer them a way to connect via their smartphones, we can then take them on a brilliant journey all the way through. We can help them through the problems that are associated with airport travel at the moment. We can guide them through those processes. We can take them to places where they can sanitize their hands, where they can shop safely, where they can find brilliant exclusive gifts for those people that they're going to be traveling to reconnect with. Because let's be honest, most people who are going to be traveling are going to be traveling for necessity and to reconnect to people. And I think we must never remove emotion from this. Emotion is huge. Let's build on those emotions and get back to reconnecting people. And this is a great way of doing it. What can we do to create beautiful gifting opportunities and experiences for people? And then to continue that beyond into social media, to amplify our message, to connect everything. So gone is the idea that it's just about what happens in that retail store. And weirdly enough, it may be that right now what we're doing doesn't even happen in a retail store. If you're making a purchase in a concourse, or you're standing in a queue and somebody comes over to you and they're entertaining you and making you feel great and they're doing something enjoyable and there's an offer for you to buy a product, or if you're connected to our sort of smartphone device and our app, we can bring things to life to you, then, you know, you don't have to be in the store in order to make a purchase. And whilst we want you in store because we can control it better, we've got to be mindful of what we are facing, and we're facing a huge challenge.
Okay.